Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about Aoyama, my beautiful friends all around the world. You guys are watching Some For All, and today, like I said, you guys are getting a deck profile on Aoyama. This is probably the most fun deck I have played in the My Hero Academia CCG. I actually went ahead and ordered an XR version of Aoyama because I'm having so much fun. I also ordered an XR version of one of his attacks, so that way all of my attacks can be shining and sparkling just like how Aoyama is. He's absolutely fun to play. I highly recommend everybody at least try him on Tabletop Simulator just to kind of get a feel for him. He's really fun, can be played really aggressively. I play him on the life symbol, but I also think he could be decent on the death symbol as well. I've been experimenting with the death symbol, but I feel like it's a little bit slower. I like the potential that we have with the life symbol, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. He has some really good matchups too. So anything that uses a lot of momentum, so like whether it's Denki, whether it's Ochako, whether it's Bakugo or Deku, yeah, he has a lot of momentum heat. So this card can just like really fuck up those decks, especially as they're like really early on trying to build up their momentum. You just constantly take away one of their momentums, and I'll get into that as we go through the attacks. But he also has a really shitty matchup against Eraserhead, and I mean like really shitty. So at my locals, the only deck that I lost to was an Eraserhead deck, and it's funny because Eraserhead is probably my main deck, although this is probably going to become my main deck. But yeah, he has those good matchups, but then like he loses to Eraserhead pretty hard because late riser, and then obviously his character card effect just shits on your speed, and he's able to block anything. He has a lot of low block modifiers, not the low zone, but I mean like the block modifiers are low numbers, so you can block a lot of your shit, which means he takes no damage or almost no damage, and you just get shit on by his kicks. Not a fun matchup, I'll tell you guys that. Take my word for it, it's not fun. Kirishima is not bad. I've had a mixed bag of results, but I mean, Kirishima is probably the best deck. This is definitely not a Kirishima counter. Kirishima can still throw you to death. He can still punch you in the mouth, and you'll still take L's. So, yeah, it kind of sucks that those are probably the two best decks in the format, and he doesn't do that well against them. But anyways, all the other decks, he is fun and really good. I honestly think that Aoyama is good, and like I said, I have a ton of fun playing him. But that being said, you guys are here for the build, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start off with his asset. 3 copies of Trade Chick Cape. Now, for me, and I don't even know if I pronounced that right, I apologize. I'm from Canada, and I've stopped taking French after grade 9. It's sad, right? I should know how to pronounce it. But anyway, this card, you want to see it. I would never play 4 of it because the block modifier is absolutely dog. It's 4 block modifier for mid, so it can block anything. But the way I kind of look at it is, like, if I'm in a situation where I have to use this for a block anyway, I've already probably lost. Unless, like, their speed's already really low, and I know I can get, like, a free block off it. But ideally, obviously, you just want to have 1 because it's unique. And what it does is you can commit it, and then one of your committed flipped foundations, you can unflip it. This is really good because this allows you to reuse things like Wall Cling, which obviously if you're facing any deck that can use Apathetic or anything like that wants to flip foundation, they probably will target your Wall Cling because Wall Cling is a really good card. But this allows you to reuse your Wall Cling. It allows you to reuse your Recovery Girl kits and all that stuff. Reuse any of your flip face down foundations. So this is really cool. I really like this. And then of course, for those games that do go a little bit longer, you are able to go ahead and pick up 2 range attacks and try to go for the jugular. So this is really good. Again, I feel like, I don't know, I want to experiment more on death, but like I said, I'm playing on life. I feel like on death, if you play a lot more slower game, which I think you can, and you do end up getting into deadlock, if your opponent goes into deadlock and it's that grind base type of game, then that second effect comes in handy. But I've actually never gotten that effect off, if I'm being completely honest. So yeah, I play through those. The attack lineup. Okay, so Naval Laser Beam. Friggin' love this card. So not only is it Breaker 2, but it is pretty good because you can discard 1 momentum, and then you can unflip 2 of your flipped face down foundations. Doesn't matter if they're committed or not committed. And then you can go ahead and flip them again and get +2 speed or +2 damage. So the stats on this card are pretty good. I mean, not the best. The speed is, It's a 3 speed mid for 6 damage. But if you go ahead and flip, you get the +2 speed. Now it's a 5 speed mid for 6 damage. And then, oh, by the way, Aoyama's character card effect that you can also use while committed, by the way, which is really cool. You get +1/+1. So all of a sudden, it's a 6 speed mid for 7 damage. Then you can go ahead and flip another foundation, and it's a 6 speed mid for 9 damage. So, yeah, this card's really good. 2 block modifier mid, and has Breaker 2. So I kind of feel like it's a no-brainer to play 4 of. Then our momentum hit card and our deadlock, our thing to scare our opponent from going into deadlock, along with our Trade Chick Cape, is this, our Naval Blast, as well as the 4 instant Shining Flash. Both of these are really good. This is what makes us really good against those momentum decks, because as a response, once this is played, your rival has to discard one momentum. And this, after you flip a card in the enhanced step due to its effect, it gets +1/+1. And then your rival also has to discard one momentum. So it gets +1/+1, so it becomes a 6/6 mid, plus Aoyama 7/7 mid. Really, really good card. In Deadlock, it gets +5 damage. So yeah, 12 damage right off the bat. That's pretty strong in Deadlock. But I mean, again, if your opponent actually does go into Deadlock and challenges you on that, then you're really good. But most players probably won't. But yeah, so that's really good. And then this allows you to play your next card. So it doesn't have to be an attack, it could be anything. Your next card gets -1 difficulty, which is really good for when you're going for the juggler. Excuse me, but then also because of Aoyama's effect, I never mentioned, if you commit him, and remember, you can still use his effect while he's committed, you can commit him, and then for each face down foundation, you get -1 difficulty on your next attack. So it really allows you to push for those end game plays. I've won games off that, I think 2 or 3 times. So yeah, it's definitely very relevant. That's kind of the strategy you want to go for. And on the reason why I decided to play life is because there's a lot of cards that allow you to flip face down, but then also the block modifiers are really good, so you can kind of stay alive. Then I also play the 3 copies of Meteor Shower because it is on life. And this is really good because, I mean, we all know why Meteor Shower is absolutely cracked. And oh my gosh, look at this one, guys. Look how beautiful this is. But we all know why this card's so cracked. I mean, just being able to, like, loop the attacks, right? Momentum, discard pile, put in momentum, from momentum back to your hand, whatever. Go ahead and use it again. This is really good. And then that's why we also play Foundations, which I'll get into, that we can flip. So even if we don't have access to, these cards that flip automatically, so then that way we can get the effect of Aoyama. We have other cards, so that way this then becomes a 5 high for 6, which is pretty good. And then like you can go ahead and loop it again and go like, okay, I got another 5 high for 6. So yeah, that's also really cool, really good. And then the star of the deck, the finisher, we got 4 Frog Lashings. Really fun card. It has breaker if you have to block for it, but ideally you don't want to block. It has a 1 mid block modifier, so this card is absolutely cracked. But it's really good because, like I said, we want to flip a ton of foundations, use Aoyama to make so our next attack gets minus difficulty based on how many face-down foundations. Ideally, at that point, you're probably going to have like 4 or 5. Sometimes I've had a ton. So then you go ahead and drop Frog Lashing. Maybe it's like your 3rd, 4th attack, whatever it may be. Boom, you pass your control check, obviously, because of this. And then you're able to ready some face-down foundations. Hopefully, all of your face-down foundations aren't readied because this card gets +1 damage for each face-down foundation. This card gets super nutty. So it already starts off at 6 damage. You can get the +1/+1, so then it's a 5 high for 7 damage, and then it gets +1 for each one of your face-down foundations. Ideally, this is like your 3rd or 4th attack that you're playing, so your rival probably had to block some of your other attacks, so it already gets not technically faster, but it's more difficult for them to block because they have cards in their card pool and all that good stuff. So this is your finisher, Frog Lashing. Like this card sneaks up on people, and like, yeah, people don't expect you to play the Frog Lashing. They're just like, okay, I play Frog Lashing now. They're just like, oh, what the hell, Frog Lashing. But yeah, so that is all of the attacks in the deck. It's 19 attacks, I believe. And honestly, at first I thought it was too much, but there were times where like I was just running out of juice. I was like, I need more attacks. And then once I've played with 19 attacks, I was like, oh, this is perfect. Okay, foundations. So I'll go over the spammable foundations, but first and foremost, gotta talk about the best foundation in my opinion, which is Tight-Lipped. So not only is this a block mid modifier, so of 1, so you can go ahead and block any zone with 1 partial block and then full block mid if you have to, but its effect, again, it's 0/0, so it's spammable. Flip 1 foundation, your attack gets +1 damage. What does that mean? That means that we can flip any foundation. We do not have to flip Tight-Lipped. We can flip any foundation. So as long as you have one of these in your staging area, you'll always be able to use Aoyama's effect because you can just flip any foundation. And then obviously you have Trade Chick Cape, so you can go ahead and commit Trade Chick Cape and then just flip over that card again and then be able to use it, right? So that's why you want to see this card, and that's why you want to see this card. So obviously you have to max out on it. You max out on it anyway because it's spammable foundation. But yeah. So then the next couple of foundations that we play are all foundations that flip, but also give us a little bit of defensive utility in terms of its block modifier. So Bonds of Friendship, which is a high block of 1, really good against Fury decks. So if you're going up against Bakugo, Nomu, or Shigaraki, you go ahead and get that. If you're not facing a deck that uses Fury attacks, no problem, man. It's a high block of 1, control check of 6. You'll still have value there. Boom. Then we go for the And infinite potential, another high block, one high modifier again. See the pattern here, guys? We want some easy blocks, you feel me? But then again, obviously we have the flip, but that's in response on our opponent's turn to make it high. We have high blocks, that way we're able to fully block stuff. But again, this is one of our foundations that we could just go ahead and freely flip with this, unflip it for when we need it, and all that good stuff. Then we go ahead and play the Observant Student. Now this is a low block modifier, value number 1, value of 1. And this is good because you can use this effect on your turn or your opponent's turn. So again, this is one of those cards that if you don't have access to Tight Lip, you can go ahead and flip this. Aoyama's effect will trigger, and then you can give cards like your Meteor Shower or your Tongue Lashing +1/+1. And then it's always nice. It's always nice. It's always a nice thing for you to look at the top card of your deck and know if you're going to pass your next control check or not, right? Then Recovery Girl Kiss. This one is a mid block modifier of 2, so it's, you know, it's not the one, but it's still really good because again, this is another card that you can flip on either player's turn. Flip it on your opponent's turn if they're attacking and you kind of want to stay alive a little bit longer, gain a little bit of life, but also you can flip it on your turn again, so you have access to Meteor Shower and Tongue Lashing, getting that +1/+1. But yeah, I've had situations where like literally that one health saved me, but it's also really good because again, you flip it, you have Trade Check Cape, commit, right? Like, so say you've already used it, you commit it during control checks, all that type of stuff. Flip that. Yeah, so it's like that actually. You flip that, this comes up, then it's your turn again. And then sorry, I just brain farted. Why did I flip this one face down? Okay, sorry. Let me show you guys what's actually good about it. I was just trolling there. Okay, so you have this, right? Okay, bless. So you go ahead and you flip this, so you get your +1 life. You do control checks, whatever. Maybe you try to block stuff, whatever, anything. So then this gets committed. Then on your first enhance, you go ahead and use this. You commit this to unflip this, and then when it comes back to your turn, you can use this again. That's how it works. So that way you can get +1 life. And honestly, +1 life isn't the best, but it's just something that you can do, right? Like if you do want to get that life back, you can do that. But most importantly, the reason why this is in the deck, for me at least, is just so I can flip it whenever I want and then be able to use Meteor Shower. What's that other card? Frog Lashing, and be able to get Aoyama's effect live. Because like I said, you could use it on either player's turn. And outside of that, if you don't have access to Tight Lipped, then you're not going to be able to flip and get that effect, right? So... But yeah, Tight Lipped also, I don't know if I mentioned his actual effect is like it gives you +1 damage, which is also important. Probably should have mentioned that. Okay, up next, we go ahead and play 2 Someone with Style and then 2 Glamorous. Glamorous, obviously, if you see it early, you go ahead and pitch it back. You want to get this once you have more foundations, because as a response, once it goes to your staging area, you can unflip 1 foundation, which is really cool. I feel like if I was playing Dead Symbol, I'd probably play more of these because obviously Apathetic, Super Generation, all that stuff. You kind of want to have multiple uses of them. So I feel like that's really good. So that way you can just go ahead and play that. But it's also nice because if you get hit by anything that lowers your speed below printed difficulty, you go ahead and use Glamorous and you get +3 speed. So that's good. This card's really good because it's stun hate, and a lot of people forget about it when it's in your staging area. They just don't remember what it does. I mean, better players will remember, but some people don't remember. And then they stun. Like I've had a game where somebody used a Reciprocal Burst and they forgot that this was there, and then they use their stun, and I was like, oh, your speed goes to 0, by the way. So yeah. But other than that, it's good to like extend stuff because you'll have a lot of face on foundation, some that are committed that you probably already use, like Trade Check Cape and all that stuff. So you go ahead and pop that, ready it again, and then kind of like push your advantage that way. So I think 2 is fine. I've never been in a situation where I felt like I needed more, but who knows? This deck can always be improved. So I'm playing 2 of each. I probably would not change it. Then to round it all off, to finish up the deck, ladies and gentlemen, we play 3 Wall Cling. This card is sick, and we play 2 Rescue Completed. Now there's another card. I don't know if it's called Villainous Entrance or something. There's the Asui Suyu DLC card, whatever that one's called. I'm eventually going to play 4 copies of that because that card's really good. That card's basically going to allow us to get, I believe it gives us +1/+1, and our next card gets -1 difficulty. I mean, come on, like that's pretty sick. As long as it's a range attack, and all of the attacks in our deck are ranged. But Wall Cling is really good because it saves lives, allows us to block with anything. Well, not block with anything, but if we block with something and it's off zone, then it counts as if it was the main zone, because then the attack does 0 damage regardless. So that's what makes Wall Cling good. And then of course we can go ahead and reuse it with Trade Check Cape. But then this card's really good as well because it allows us to give our opponent -2 speed, which is always a lot of fun. And then it allows us to force commit something. So say we go ahead and used Wall Cling. Wall Cling's flipped, and then we go ahead and use Rescue Completed, so we commit to give them -2 speed. Then whatever card is played next, whatever attack or whatever, check your cape, boom, flip, go back to our turn, boom, we have this available again. So yeah, so this is just to give us, our opponent, -2 speed, a little bit of defense, but then it's also a little bit nice on offense because it gives you +1 speed. But then its second effect is also pretty good because if you do want to like extend and go for the juggler, I've had this situation come up where you can go ahead and pop it, you destroy it, and then you can ready to face down foundations. And then that also combos really good with frog lashing because sometimes you might have multiple face down foundations, and frog lashing only lets you do 2. So you can do 2 from frog lashing, pop this, and then do another 2, and then you have 4, and then it gets +4 damage. It becomes a 10 damage attack, right off the bat from that. So guys, that is my Aoyama deck. I hope you guys enjoy the deck profile. I try to make it entertaining. I try to make it fun. I love this deck. Like I said, I will be making an update on this once I figure out the side deck. If I change anything in the main board, maybe I'll decide to play 4 Meteor Showers. I don't know. We'll see how it happens. When the DLC comes out, all that stuff, I'll be adding that to the deck. So I definitely will be making an update, and by then, I should have an XR Aoyama and all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any suggestions in the comment section below, if you guys have any ideas on how I can make my matchups a little bit better, especially against Kirishima or Eraserhead, let me know. I am an open book. Please, I just want to get better at the game. I just want to have a better deck. So let me know. But I highly recommend you guys try this deck out. Go on Tabletop Simulator or build a deck in real life. Go to your locals, try it, and have fun. Okay, guys? Take it easy. I will catch you guys later. Peace out.